Hey guys, so I love how when I start filming or decide to film, it starts pouring down, raining outside. But I have a story for you. So I filmed this video already, but I filmed it as soon as this incident happened, and I had just woken up, so like I looked like I just woke up, and the lighting was like not that good because it was like kind of a weird time in the day. So I was like, I'm not gonna upload this, so I'm just gonna refilm it and tell you everything. Plus I have some new developments, so I figured, like, you know, I'll just tell the story over again. So this happened a few days ago. So I was taking a nap, and I always leave my ringer on because, you know, if I get a call, like an important call, you know, I gotta have my phone by me. So I get a call, and I was sleeping at the time, so like it woke me up out of my sleep, and I was like, oh, who's calling me? So I look, and it was a number I didn't recognize, so I was just like, whatever, I'm going back to sleep, and if it's really important, they'll leave me a message. Like maybe a minute later, if even a minute, they called me again, and I was like, oh, they won't leave a message. Maybe they're calling back to back to see if I'll answer again. Maybe it's something important. So I was just like, let me just answer. So like, hello, Asha? So they like asked me, like, you know, like, hello, Asha? So I was like, well, maybe this is like a job that I applied to a while ago and they're just now getting back with me. But I was like, I already have a job, so I'm not interested. So that's what I was thinking. So like, hi, this is, I'm just gonna say Amy. Amy from, I need to come up with a fake company on the spot. From X Corporation. And I was like, okay, hi. I thought she'd said another corporation that I was familiar with, so I was just like, okay, hello. And I was like, I didn't apply to this place, so why are they calling me? I was really confused. And they're like, hi, you were referred to us by gotta come up with another fake name, Andy Johnson, and he recommended you to us and said that you might be looking for a job, or he said he wasn't sure if you were employed or not, but that you would be a really good candidate for us and you're like a really good student, etc., etc. And I was like, who? Because I was like, wanted to hear the name again, and she said Andy Johnson. And I was like, well, that last name sounds familiar, but I don't know the person. I don't know who this is. And come to find out that he goes to my school. So I was like, you know, I don't know this guy. I'm not friends with him. We're not following each other on any social media platforms whatsoever. But I did know his sister. I realized this later. So she's basically like saying, so yeah, blah, blah, blah. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about us. And I was like, well, I already have a job, so I'm not interested. I'm not looking right now to be employed anywhere else. Like, I'm already working. I don't need another job. She's like, well, if you would just give me a few minutes to try and explain to you. Mind you, I just woke up. I'm half asleep, so I'm just kind of like confused. I'm not really sure what's going on, you know? So I'm just like, okay. So she tells me, she's like, we pay $15 an hour, which is a lot of money, especially for a teenager like me. $15 an hour is basically unheard of. Like, I make minimum wage. Everyone I know makes minimum wage. So I was just like, okay. And she's like, and our schedule is very flexible, so like with your job you can, like, you know, work and it'd be fine, like with your work schedule and everything, we can work around it. So she gives me instructions on how to get there. She gives me another phone number because she goes, the number that I'm calling you on is not the number for the company, so call me back on this, don't call me back on this number, call me back on this other number that she gave me. Then she gave me the instructions to the place and like the directions to the place, and she's like, yeah, you seem really friendly and really outgoing, so I think this would be a great job for you, and you have like retail experience, blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. So I hang up the phone, and my dad is like, comes in the living room, and I go, oh my god, you'll never guess what happened. So I told him everything I'm telling you basically, and he goes, Asha, you don't know who those people could be. They could probably be a sex trafficking people or whatever he said. And I was like, oh my god, you're so right, because I live in the Atlanta area. I live in Atlanta, and if you didn't know, Atlanta is the hub of sex trafficking. So it's very, very dangerous being a young teenage girl living in Atlanta, because it's obviously, it's like I said, it's really dangerous, and you know, you can just get snatched up off the street. So it's not like, you know, it's not uncommon for people to be worried about this kind of thing. She set up an interview for me too, and what I tried to do was, when she set up the interview with me originally, she's like, can you come in at 7 tonight? And I'm like, okay, that's a little weird. Usually anytime I've gotten interviews for places, it's like usually a couple of days later or like next week, because they obviously know like you have a life, you're busy. So just the fact that she would ask me to come in 2 hours later, because it was around 5 o'clock when she called me, and she asked if I could come in for an interview at 7. So I was like, no, I have something to do. I lied because I didn't want her to set up an interview for me. And I was like, oh no, I can't tonight. She's like, well, what do you have to do that you can't get out of? And I'm like, is it any of your business? And so I just made something up, and I was just like, I have to babysit. She goes, yeah, I know how that goes, that sucks, blah 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 blah. She goes, okay, can I schedule you for tomorrow morning at 11:30? And I'm like, well, I'm not sure. She goes, so you don't know what days you're working, you don't know your work schedule? And I was like, I have not gotten it yet. I lied, I didn't know my work schedule. And she was like, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna schedule you for 11:30 tomorrow morning, and blah blah blah, told me what to wear, all this other stuff. So, you know, I was telling my dad that. He's like, yeah, you're not going to that interview. And I'm like, I wasn't planning on going anyway. Like, no, I'm not going. He's like, you don't know who they could be, all this stuff, it's so sketchy, and it sounded really sketchy. So I'm like, okay, let me do some digging. Like, let me find out who this Andy Johnson guy is. I look him up on Facebook, and I see that he does have a Facebook, and he does go to my school. So I was like, oh, okay, interesting. So basically I was like, oh my god, and then I looked him up on Instagram, and you know how Instagram now has a thing where you can kind of see who's following who, kind of, so it's like followed by so and so and so and so, the people you're following. So I saw that some of my friends, like maybe 3 or 4 people that I was following, were following him. So I was like, well, like if the same last name as this other girl that I know, they're probably brother and sister. The name was not a common last name, so if you're saying like, wow, Johnson's, anyone could have, no, this name was an uncommon name, so it was easy for me to like know, because like there was only, you know, like one person that I knew of with that last name. I sent her a message on Snapchat, and I'm like, hey, so-and-so called me, this company X Corporation called me, and they were saying all this stuff and said that Andy recommended me. She goes, oh yeah, that's my brother. And I'm like, yeah, like I think it's kind of weird because I don't talk to your brother and I don't know your brother. And she's like, yeah, I don't know why my brother would recommend you or how that happened. And I'm like, yeah, I know, like it's weird. And then she told me that they had called her at one point too, and that she said that her brother worked for them, but she said they had called her at one point too. And I was like, oh, did your brother set that up for you? And she's like, no, some other person recommended me, and they set up an interview with me, but I just never went. And I was like, okay, yeah, I wasn't planning on going. She's like, yeah. So then I was like asking her like, well, can you talk to your brother and ask him like what's going on? And she's like, yeah, I'm not with him right now, but I'll let him know. So it was like an hour pass, and I'm just like, I can't take this anymore. Like I need to know, I need answers. So I ended up just DMing him on Instagram myself and asking him what's going on, and I can read it to you right now. I was like, hey, X Corporation called me and said you recommended me, and I'm just really confused. And he said, oh, I just started. I think it may have contacted you from Facebook, which I still don't understand because A, how did they get my phone number? My phone number is not linked to my Facebook account, and I made 100% sure of that. And you can't even search my Facebook unless you have mutual friends in common with me. Like when I say that I have my Facebook page locked completely up, you can't even find my Facebook page by searching my name on Google. Like there's no way, because my privacy settings are extremely private to avoid situations like this. So that just confused me. And he said, X Corporation is good though, I've made like $300 to $400 in 2 days. And I said, because I'm like, how did they get my number? And she didn't know my last name. And he goes, oh, haha, sorry, I just have accidentally clicked your name. But if you're looking for a job, you should check it out. And I was like confused. Like, what do you mean you must have accidentally clicked my name? Like, we're not friends on Facebook, so I'm not understanding what he's saying. So I still don't know what he meant. She did not know my last name. She asked me what my last name was, so she didn't know my last name. So my last name is on Facebook, so I'm just kind of confused because it's like, well, I mean, if you are saying that she found me through Facebook, then I'm pretty sure she would know my last name. Just saying. So I thought that was a little weird. And so I told my dad that. I was like, yeah, he said he made $300 to $400 in 2 days. He goes, so he doesn't know how much money he made? Like, you always know how much money you're making. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. How can you say $300 to $400? Like, you should know how much money you made. And I was like, yeah, I guess you're right. I obviously didn't go to the interview the next day, and I got a text message that was like, which I ended up blocking all of the phone numbers because obviously I don't know who these people are. I don't know how they got my information. I don't know how they got my phone number, because literally, like, you cannot find my phone number anywhere unless you get it from someone who I know personally, and everyone who I know knows not to give my phone number out without either telling me that they did or asking me first to give my number out. Like, so yeah, so I got a text message and it was basically like, hey, you missed your interview today. And it sent me like a message like maybe 2 hours, 3 hours after I was supposed to go have the interview. It's like, hey, you missed your interview today. We're gonna set up another with you, one tomorrow at 12:30. And I was like, and it was like something, didn't respond, whatever. And then I got another one later on that day that was like something about the thing, if you want to schedule another interview, call us at blah blah blah. I ignored it, blocked the numbers, the whole 9 yards. But I believe it was yesterday, I was on the phone with my friend and I was just going through, I came across this thing for this corporation, and it was basically like my friend had retweeted it and she said, oh my god, I got a call from them. So I click on it and I read it, and it was basically saying how this company is calling teenage girls between the ages of like 15 and 18 or 15 and 17, somewhere around my age group, and that they were calling them and trying to like set up an interview or schedule a time. Wait, I might be able to find it on Twitter now. She was basically saying how she got referred to by a young man neither of her and her best friend had spoken to in a while. She was with her boyfriend at the time, and when she heard that they paid like $16 an hour, she was like, oh my god, that's crazy. So she went and someone told her like, no, don't do that, because they're gonna sex traffic you. And another girl who had gotten called by the same company went in for her interview, and she was saying how the guy was really adamant about her coming to the interview and even offered to pick her up to bring her to her interview, because she basically was like, there's no way for me to get there. And so I was like, holy crap, like that's pretty much the same thing that happened to me. Someone called me, and apparently a lot of people were saying that this company had been sex trafficking girls. So I do a little bit more research on these two companies because they are coordinated, and basically people were saying, some people were like saying that it was associated with sex trafficking, and some people were saying that it was not associated with sex trafficking. But one thing I did see in common with all of them is that this is a scam. So I feel like, oh god, I want to tell you the company so bad, but like I know that if something happens, I think I could get into legal troubles. This company is a scam, and what they were saying is they try and they target they target young adults, teenagers, and they have them, I guess, work for them. And I still don't really know the details of the job, but they guarantee that you're going to make $16, $15, $16, $17 an hour base pay. But the way it works is it's not per hour, it's per appointment that you make for the company with the people. So it's per hour, per appointment. And they're basically saying that it's a scam and it's not worth it. And clearly I think that any company that would reach out to people whom they have no information on and not give you enough information on the company and say that people referred you that didn't refer you is a scam, because the whole thing is completely sketchy. And honestly, like, if you ever get a call like that from a company and it has these things, do not trust it, because it is probably a scam. No company has ever called me that I have not applied to, that I have not given my name and number, that I have not given my information to in hopes that they would call me. That has never happened to me in a million years. But a scam, they will do things like that. I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and all of my social media is also always linked in the down bar. I can't really think of anything else. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.